We walk together through the Broken Hills Park. The creatures of the park feel familiar, but I get a strange feeling they should be odd to my eyes. Gloomy asks me what my plan is. I say, what do you mean? He says, what do you plan to do here in Broken Hills, Mr. Gavin? I say, I haven't really given it much thought. This, I guess, just wandering around. Maybe go on a quest that has something to do with the Green Knight, perhaps? Suddenly we hear a voice saying, there you are, young man. We turn around and we see the flat person coming towards us. For some reason, Gloomy panics. He grabs my hand and says, let's go. We find ourselves in the street of frozen faces. Gloomy says we should be safe from him here. I ask, what does the flat person want? But before Gloomy can answer, he appears before us and says, I just need a word with the lad. Gloomy screams, grabs my hand, and we fade again. We find ourselves in my bedroom. Gloomy says he hopes the flat person will not follow us here, but you can never know. He says maybe we'd better hide in the bathroom. I tell him I don't have a bathroom. He says the flat person has absolutely no shame. The flat person appears and says, shame does not drive people to stardom, Gloomy screams again, grabs me, and we fade once more. This time, he takes us to the hall of doors, windows, and eyes. This is such a boring room to be in. Nobody ever comes here because there's nothing to do but get into places and being watched. Being watched is my favorite thing in the world, says the flat person as he appears. I say, okay, enough. I tell Gloomy to fade away. I will catch up with you later. He says, yes, Mr. Gavin. By the way, you are needed in the next room. I say, yeah, that's great, kid, but I'm a bit busy right now. He fades, and I turn to the flat person. I ask him, what do you want from Gloomy? He says, I just need to understand. I say, understand what? He shows me a piece of paper and says, you see this? I posted this not long ago on the town's posting board. As you can see, it's a very witty little harmless joke that should appeal to everyone. And indeed, many of the members of our community have taken the time to mark that they liked it. Aside from Beth and the inspector, who, as you know, are still missing. But our young friend didn't. He simply, I'm sorry to be so crude, but he simply ignored it altogether. I smile and I say, you kiss your mother with that mouth? He doesn't seem to get the joke and he goes on. I'm sorry, but this is desperation. How am I supposed to become better and more popular if people will not tell me what am I doing wrong? Is it the phrasing? Was it too naughty? I made sure there's nothing political about it. It's short, it doesn't require a lot of reading. I can't figure it out. What is there not to like? I say, you can't always please everyone. He snaps and says, you're no help at all, and he fades away. I'm about to follow him, but then I decide against it. It seems like a waste of time. This is boring. I go back to the park. My parents are eating a tree. At least I think it's a tree, although it looks nothing like it. I say, funny seeing you here, when I hear a scream. I turn and I see the flat person has wrapped himself around Gloomy. He's about to devour him. He keeps screaming, never be forgotten, never be forgotten. I had enough. I don't appreciate flat idiots who prey on the helpless. I decide to tinker with the rules. The flat person breaks into dozens of pieces who scatter while Gloomy is doing his best to stomp all over him. I decide to help him. When we finish, he comes to me and says, thank you, Mr. Gavin. What shall we do now? I say, no offense, kid, but I had enough babysitting for one day. Time for this dreamer to spend a little grown-up time by himself and find something fun to do in this place. I look around. Far from me, I see a man sitting on the hill. This man is always on the hill. I don't know how I know this. I just do. He will be my entry point to a fun adventure, I'm sure of it. I leave Gloomy behind, feeling just a little bit guilty, and as I make my way towards the hill, I'm thinking, sorry kid, but babysitting is not what I came to do here in Broken Hill.
When I talk, people listen. Look at all the likes that I get. When I talk, people listen. Look at all the comments that I get.